Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to continue our story Alice's Adventure in the Wonderland for chapter 10, The Lobster Quadrille. The Mock Turtle sighed deeply and drew the back of one flapper across his eyes. He looked at Alice and tried to speak, but for a minute or two sobs choked his voice. Same as if he had a bone in his throat, said the Griffon, and it set to work shaking him and punching him in the back. At last, the Mock Turtle recovered his voice, and with tears running down his cheeks, he went on again. You may not have lived much under the sea. I haven't, said Alice. And perhaps you were never introduced to a lobster. Alice began to say, I once tasted it, but checked herself hastily and said, no, never. So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is. No, indeed, said Alice. What sort of a dance is it? Why, said the Griffon, you first form into a line along the seashore. Two lines? Cried the Mock Turtle. Skulls, seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. Then when you have cleared all the jellyfish out of the way, that generally takes some time, interrupted the Griffon. You advance twice, each with a lobster as a partner, cried the Griffon. Of course, the Mock Turtle said, advance twice, said the partners. Change lobsters and retire in the same order, continued the Griffon. Then, the Mock Turtle went on, you throw the lobster, shouted the Griffon with a hound into the air, as far out to sea as you can. Swim after them, screamed the Griffon. Turn a somersault into the sea, cried the Mock Turtle, capering wildly about. Change lobster again, yelled the Griffon at the top of his voice. Back to land again, said said, and that's all the first figure, said the Mock Turtle. Suddenly dropping his voice and the two creatures who had been jumping about like mad things all this time, sat down again very sadly and quietly, and looked at Alice. It must be a very pretty dance, said Alice timidly. Would you like to see a little of it? Said the Mock Turtle. Very much indeed, said Alice. Come, let's try the first figure, said the Mock Turtle to the Griffon. We can do it without lobster, with sing. Oh, you sing, said the Griffon. I've forgotten the words. So they began solemnly dancing round and around Alice, every now and then treading on her toes when they passed her too close and waving the forepaws to mark the time, while the Mock Turtle sang this very slowly and sadly. Will you walk a little faster? Said a whale into a snail. There is a porpoise close behind us, and he is treading on my tail. See how eagerly the lobster and the turtle has lost friends. They are waiting on the single. Will you come and join the dance? Will you? Won't you? Will you? Won't you? Will you join the dance? Will you? Want you? Will you? Want you? Won't you join the dance? You can really have no notion how delightful it will be when they take us up and drown us with the lobster and the sea. But the snail replied too far, and gave a look askance. Said he thanked the waiting kindly, but he would not join the dance. Would not join the dance. Would not join the dance. What matters is how far we go, his scaly friend replied. There is another show, on the other side. The further off from England, the nearer is to France. Then turn not pale, beloved snail, but come and join the dance. Will you join the dance? Want you join the dance? Thank you. It is very interesting dance to watch, said Alice, feeling very glad that it was over at last. And I do so like that curious song about the waiting. Oh, as to the waiting, said the Mock Turtle. You have seen them, of course. Yes, said Alice. I have often seen them at Dean, checked herself hastily. I don't know where Dean may be, said the Mock Turtle, but if you have seen them so often, of course you know what they are like. I believe so, Alice replied thoughtfully. They have their tails in their mouths, and they're all over the crumbs. You are wrong about the crumbs, said the Mock Turtle. Crumbs will all wash off in the sea, but they have their tails in their mouths. And the reason is, here the Mock Turtle yawned and sought his eyes. Tell her about the reason and all that, he said to the Griffin. The reason is, said the Griffin, that they would go with the lobster to the dance, so they got thrown out to the sea. So they had to fall a long way, so they get their tail fast in their mouths, so they couldn't get them out again. That's all. Thank you, said Alice. It is very interesting. I never knew so much about avoiding before. I can tell you more than that, if you like, said the Griffin. Do you know why it is called avoiding? I never thought about it, said Alice. Why? Hmm. It does the boots and shoes, the Griffin replied very solemnly. Alice was truthfully puzzled. Does the boot and shoes? She repeated in a wondering tone. Why, what are your shoes done with? Said the Griffin. I mean, what makes them so shiny? Alice looked down at them and considered a little before she gave her answer. They are done with blacking, I believe. Boots and shoes under the sea, the Griffin went on in a deep voice, are done with whiting. Now you know. And what are they made of? Alice asked in a tone of great curiosity. Soles and eels, of course. The Griffin replied rather impatiently, and any stream could have told you that. If I had been the whiting, said Alice, whose dog was still running in the song, I would have said to the porpoise, "Get back, please. We don't want you with us." They were obliged to have him with them. The Mock Turtle said, "No wise fish will go with anyone without a porpoise." "Wouldn't it really?" said Alice in a tone of great surprise. "Of course not," said the Mock Turtle. "Why, if a fish came to me and told me he was going a journey, I should say, with what purpose?" "Don't you mean purpose?" said Alice. "I mean what I say," the Mock Turtle replied in an offended tone, and the Griffin added, "Come, let's hear some of your adventures." "I could tell you my adventures beginning from this morning," said Alice a little timidly, "but it is no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then." "Explain all that," said the Mock Turtle. "No, no, the adventures first," said the Griffin in an impatient tone. "Explanation takes such a dreadful time." So Alice began telling them her adventure from time when she was first saw the white rabbit. She was a little nervous about it just at the first. The two creatures got so close to her and on each side and opened their eyes and mouths so very wide, but she gained courage as she went on. Her listeners were perfectly quiet till she got to the part about her repeating, "You are old, Father Williams," to the caterpillar, and the words are coming to different. And then the Mock Turtle drew a long breath and said, "That's very curious." "It is all about as curious as it can be," said the Griffin. "It all came different," the Mock Turtle repeated thoughtfully. "I should like to hear her try and repeat something now. Tell her to begin." He looked at the Griffin as if he thought it had some kind of authority over Alice. "Stand up and repeat." "'Tis the voice of the sluggard," said the Griffin. How the creature ordered one about and make one repeat lesson, I thought Alice. "I might just as well be at school at once." However, she got up and began to repeat it, but her head was so full of the lobster quadrille that she hardly knew what she was saying, and the words came very queer indeed. "'Tis the voice of the lobster," I heard him declare. "You have baked me too brown, I must wrinkle my hair. As a dog with an eyelid, so he with his nose trimmed his bell with his button and turned out his toes." "That's different from what I used to say when I was a child," said the Griffin. "Well, I never heard it before," said the Mock Turtle, "but it sounds uncommon nonsense. Alice said nothing. She had sat down again with her face in her hands, wondering if anything would ever happen in a natural way again. I should like to have it explained, said the doctor. She can explain it, said the great one, hastily. Go on with the next verse. But about first verse, about his toes, the mock turtle persisted. How could he turn them out with his nose? You know, it's the first position in dancing, Alice said. But she was dreadfully puzzled by the whole thing and longed to change the subject. Go on with the next verse, the Griffon repeated impatiently. It began. I passed by his garden. Alice did not dare to disobey till she felt sure it would all come wrong, and she went on in a trembling voice. I passed by his garden and marked with one eye how the all on the oyster were sharing a pie. What is the use of repeating all that stuff? The mock turtle interrupted. If you don't explain it as you go on, it is by far the most confusing thing I ever have. Yes, I think you'd better leave off, said the Griffon, and Alice was only too glad to do so. Shall we try another figure of the lobster quadrille? The Griffon went on. Or would you like the mock turtles to sing you a song? Oh, a song, please, if the mock turtle would be so kind. Alice replied so eagerly that the Griffon said in a rather offended tone, now accounting for tastes, sing her turtle soup, will you, old fellow? The mock turtle sighed deeply and began, in a voice sometimes choked with sobs, to sing this. Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen, who for such dainties would not stoop. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup. Who cares for fish, game, or any other dish? Who would not give always for the two penny worth only of beautiful soup? Penny worth only of a beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup, soup of the evening. Beautiful, beautiful soup. Chorus again, cried the Grapon, and the mock turtle had just begun to repeat it, when a cry of the trial's beginning was heard in the distance. Come on, cried the Grapon, and taking Alice by the hand, it hurried off without waiting for the end of the song. What trial it is, Alice panted as she ran, but the Grapon only answered, Come on, and ran the faster, while more and more fairly carried on the breeze that followed them the melancholy words. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Alright guys, that is for the chapter 10. See you again in the next chapter.